Hi, I'm DelusionDispeller. With the recent controversy of the Roseanne show being canceled, I thought it would be a great idea for me to give my comments on some things. So first of all, my thoughts on getting the show canceled are varied. First, there were still parts of the show that I didn't like because of my own personal religious convictions, but overall, I felt more of a warmth this time around with the reboot of Roseanne in the current characters. I felt like they were more emotionally connected than in the original series. So I'm going to miss that due to the fact that the show got canceled. I don't feel that Roseanne acted sensibly in posting what she did on Twitter and on social media, but honestly, I liked the show. I want to just give my thoughts, basically, in my opinion, about Roseanne overall, the whole show, or certain characters in it. First of all, I've always enjoyed the show. I've ignored some of the crass humor that was shared, but I found it offensive, of course, but I was able to overlook that and just kind of follow along with the family-oriented storyline. I feel that the show depicts a family very similar to families that I know, in more of a normal setting with people struggling financially, emotionally, and other ways. This was important to me because at the time of watching the original, I had young children and I was married, and my marriage was very rocky. So I could relate a lot to the arguments that Dan and Roseanne had and the bickering and the yelling that went on between the kids and the family in general. I could relate to all of that. Roseanne herself is a character who, in my opinion, was similar to another character that I enjoyed, Grace from Grace Under Fire, played by Rhett Butler. She tended to basically say only what we were thinking, but didn't have the guts to say it. Most of us are more polite than to say some of the things Roseanne and Grace would say. But we found it funny because we're like, well, I was thinking that, but I just wouldn't say that. We were too polite. Jackie is a fun, goofy, and mixed up sort of character who reminded me a lot of my dear aunt. She was often misunderstood, but very comfortable in her own skin, just being her own person and laughing at life. Come to think of it, she is a lot like me, actually. She was the brunt of a lot of the jokes on the show, which she just tended to take in stride and not even sometimes realize that the jokes were at her expense. The way the daughters argued back and forth and tried to compete with each other was a lot like my own preteen daughters at the time as well. Darlene was more the tomboyish one, which I had a couple tomboys in my family of children, and Becky was a little bit narcissistic and self-centered at times. But overall, the show worked, and the way the daughters communicated was very realistic feeling to me. Even as the adult versions, the show seemed to hold to the same characteristics in those characters, which only drew me in more this time around with the reboot. My thoughts on the show getting canceled, like I said, I was upset, but yet at the same time, I understood where people were coming from. Not that I agreed that they made such a huge deal of it, because let's face it, we all say stuff we regret later. So I don't feel that Roseanne acted sensibly in posting what she did on Twitter. The fact that she attacked a political figure, well, that made it even more deplorable to people in general. I won't sit in judgment, however, because I know how easy it is to get online and post random comments without ever considering that you're lashing out at a real human being with feelings and the right to be respected. She admitted her comments were in poor taste, but it appears that one thing people loved old Rosie for in the past and on her show, her unguarded, non-empathic, sometimes crass, and definitely tactless comments about people turned out to be her very downfall when she, the real person, Roseanne Barr, dared to become her TV character and try out some lines in reality. In the words of another character from Last Man Standing, Roseanne, it's not cool.